Is it really possible to improve your serve using online digital coaching? Shanice is an all-access pass member who turned her serve from a weakness to a weapon after working with our OTI digital instructors. After receiving digital coaching, Shanice was able to fix her open racket face, or commonly known as the waiter's tray position, allowing her to effectively lead with the edge. This is a common serve issue for many beginner players. First, we'll be taking a look at Shanice's very first video review from OTI instructor James.
Hey Shanice, it's James here from the OTI coaching team. I hope you're doing well. Today I'm excited to be taking a look at your serve. And the whole objective here with today's analysis is we want to be able to identify and prioritize the most important problem that we see on your serve, which will ultimately lead to the ball flying better when we fix that problem. So what we'll do first, we'll watch this in regular speed, and then from there we'll slow it down and we'll take a closer look. Okay, let's slow this down now and let's take a closer look at this. First thing we always look at is the grip, and from what I can see, in terms of the positioning, you may be a little bit further over to a forehand grip. So what I mean by that is the index knuckle and your heel pad may be ranging a little bit further over to 2.5. It doesn't look like it's on a full Eastern, but I could be wrong. It looks like you're closer to a 2.5, which is actually good news. That tells us that it's not going to be so much of a significant change for you to make over to the true continental grip. Now, that being said, trying to make a grip change to coordinate it with the other mechanics you're going to be working on can be quite challenging. So what I'd recommend you do is maybe work on the mechanics of which I'm going to talk about in this video for a couple of weeks first. Once the mechanics then become more natural, then you can start to focus on making that subtle grip change. But trying to coordinate them both at the same time will be quite challenging. Now, in terms of your mechanics, one thing I really like of what you're doing, getting very nice internal shoulder rotation after contact. And what I mean by that is, see how the palm and the strings are pointing out to the left side. That means that you've internally rotated the shoulder, but also you pronated the forearm. And that movement alone is a significant source of power. And you've got that movement ingrained there, which is lovely to see. Now, in terms of your serve, what are we missing out on? The main thing we're missing out on right now is effortless power. We're not maximizing the power on your serve. So the question is, why is that? What's the problem? The problem we're having, you're not able to generate any sort of racket head speed, and that's because of the way your racket is currently moving over your head. It's a very, very common problem which you have, and that is you activate your hitting arm independently to the body. So that means you're taking the arm back too far in this direction, and see how you're taking it back to a point where the tip of your racket is now pointing towards the back fence, whilst your arm is pretty much fully straight. Now, the problem with this is very difficult to correct yourself and bring the hand and the racket back around in this direction. So what ends up happening now is you end up opening the palm and strings. See how the palm and strings are now pointing directly up towards the sky. Now, this is a major power killer on the serve, but it also puts a lot of unnecessary stress on your shoulder joint, which is something we really want to avoid. Funnily enough, I had exactly the same problem on my serve when I first started playing around 7 years ago. And this is a major problem which we'd like to avoid. So the next question is, what should it look like instead? Instead, what we have to do, we have to get a good, we call it the right to left arm action. That's in reference for right-handed players. For left-handed players, it's simply the left to right. So it's just flipped, but the same concepts apply. So what we'd like to see, first of all, you have to get into a good half serve position. Now, what is the half serve position? It looks something like this. The upper arm and elbow come here, but then instead of the lower arm and hand going back behind you, the lower arm and hand will come somewhere there. So that will result in more of a bend in your hitting arm, a little bit greater than 90 degrees. So your elbow will be approximately here, hand will be there. Now, how will that impact the racket? The racket, as a result, will be pointing slightly down towards the left side, where the palm and strings point down. And that's what we call the half serve position. And over the next couple of weeks, I want you to isolate your swing and actually start from that position. This will make it a lot easier to reinforce the right mechanics. Then from here, Shanice, what I'd like to see is you want to bend at the elbow. The hand then will move over the bicep. A great analogy to have in mind is like you're saluting, like the soldiers do in the army. It's that same movement. Tip of the racket will then move left to right over your head, where the palm and strings remain relatively closed. If you can maintain a good left to right arm action where the palm and strings are closed, it's going to help you optimize your racket drop. You're going to increase your acceleration past the contact. As a result, you'll get more racket head speed and more power. So in summary, great work on the serve. The main thing we have to look at fixing is your left to right arm action. We have to optimize that further. So to do that, you have to isolate the swing and break it down, starting from the half serve position first. Do a lot of shadow swings where you just focus on completing that left to right, and then slowly build it up through the progressions from there. When you do hit the ball, make sure you go inside the court to the half court position, serve down the line. This will help you take the outcome out of the equation whilst you slowly progress it through the progressive system. Now, if you have any questions on this, Shanice, please let me know. I really look forward to seeing your updated progress. And yeah, please keep me posted on any changes you make.
After receiving her first review, Shanice worked very hard on her serve and actually received 2 more serve reviews from OTI instructors Florian and Greg. After working with our online digital coaches, Shanice received a final serve review highlighting some of the huge changes she had made on her serve.
Hey Shanice, it's Florian, online tennis instruction, going to give you an update on your serve. I'll let this run through in regular speed once. And this is an excellent improvement. I went back all the way to your first review and oh my God, has the serve improved since then. And then I went back to the last review that Greg did for you, where the goal was clearly to come up on edge more. And I'm going to show you that you have achieved that. Okay, so lots of good things going on here, really good development. I did see that you said you had some shoulder issues. I don't know if you saw the exercises by Dr. Vagi in our members area under OTI Plus short training modules, then movement and fitness, and then it's called shoulder injuries or something like that, or shoulder rehabilitation by Dr. Vagi. Please take a look at that. And every tennis player, and you will see the pros, they do this every time they go on the court. They do these external shoulder rotation exercises as well as some other exercises, which you can see there in the module. It just has to become a regular habit to strengthen the back side of your shoulder, external shoulder rotation, and a couple of other things. So just to point that out, it just, everybody playing tennis needs to be doing that. I wish I had known that when I was still competing. But anyways, let's get to your serve, okay? So, it's a little bit unusual how you are setting the racket here, in the sense that you're not fully completing a left to right the way that we would usually recommend that. And this costs you a little bit of power. You're setting the racket here instead of starting here and coming a little more left to right. That being said, I don't mind this at all right now, because the goal of the left to right is to get into a good racket drop where the muscles around the shoulder are pre-stretched, and you do that, okay? And you do that, and the racket is on edge. So for now, I would say you enjoy, the power you have gained, and the motion is quite good. It's so much better than what it was. And instead of making that kind of like a bigger change where you now, start to do even more left to right, because I don't think you need more power. I think what you need at the moment is more consistency. I would recommend to work on something else. But let's look at coming up on edge here. And so look at this here, okay? You're really coming up on edge, okay? This part right here, whereas on the last video review, you were quite open here. So that is excellent. You do open it a little bit early here, but that has to do with the toss. And that is the one thing I would recommend for you to work on next. The toss is just too far to the left, okay? You want to contact the ball on all first serves above the hitting shoulder, above the left shoulder, and it would look like this. We call this the power triangle. So the arm would be like this. The racket is tilted. Sorry, let me do this again. The racket is tilted to the right from the hand at contact, and then the contact is above the left shoulder, the hitting shoulder. For that, you need to move the toss significantly further to the right, okay? So that would be my number one priority next. Move the toss further to the right. And then you want to hit all first serves from that contact, approximately above the shoulder. Now, if you're a little bit here to the left, that's fine, but this is just too much. So how do you do that? And why does the ball go too far to the left, okay? Now, essentially, you want to hold the ball in your fingertips. Not 100% sure if you're doing that. Or if it's a little too deep in your hand. I think it's a little too deep in your hand. You want to hold it in your fingertips, and you're releasing it too early, okay? So this is kind of when you're releasing it around the mouth level, okay? And you want to release it a little bit later. You want to release it at around eye level. So you need to hold the ball a little bit longer in your hand, release it later, and then as a result, it should go off your hand a little bit in this direction instead of in this direction, okay? So hold the ball longer in your hand and open the fingertips later. It has to feel a bit weird to you, okay? You've already made some really nice changes. You know how to make these changes. So I don't think I need to remind you about the progressions, but this is something you can work on a lot at home. A good drill for you would be the toss target drill. That's in the serve blueprint under drills, okay? Where you put something on the ground here in front of you in the right location, and you do your toss and you let the ball bounce. And you can do that, at home or anywhere. The toss target drill. And then you can also combine that with a dummy toss, where you toss the ball up. You can slide up on your grip, okay? And then you do a shadow swing. So you toss the ball up, but you don't hit that ball. You let it come down. You see if it comes down the right spot. And you wait a little bit, or you grip a little higher on the racket. And you then do a shadow swing. So you're not hitting the ball, but you are now combining the new toss with at least a swing of your arm, okay, before you go right away to hitting the ball. And then as usual, you hit from here down the line and so forth, okay? So that will be, the next priority for me. And as I said, improving this left to right, we can look at that later. That will give you more power, but you already have, really good power here. And so I would say it's more important to gain some consistency on your first serve. And when you hit, instead of from here, when you hit from here, it'll be much easier for you to hit all three targets out wide, down the tee and to the body, and the same from the ad court. Okay, it'd be much easier because that's a better angle there. So great job so far, and that's the next step. Really nice. By the way, what we can also see, you didn't have this before. Really nice pronation here. The strings are now pointing to the outside, and you can only do that because you're really coming up on edge here, and that certainly wasn't there on the last review. You can see really the palm and the strings are pointing to the outside. Nicely done.
If you're also interested in getting personalized video review coaching, check out this special offer.
Right now, we have a special trial of our OTI Digital Coach available for you. It not only gives you access to all our video courses and modules, but you will also receive your own personalized video analysis from one of our OTI certified instructors. Simply send us a video of the stroke of your choice during your trial, and you will receive a voiceover video analysis with laser-focused feedback on how you can transform that stroke into a real weapon. Simply click the link inside or below this video for all the details.